10 questions.
Sir, question number 9 I have doubt.
Question number 9, okay. Let's say this is a question related to function. So function we'll discuss now. Okay. Apart from question number 9, anything else? Apart from question number 9, anything else?
No, sir, but that question number 10, I have done it using the if-else statement. Is that
Which question?
question number 9 only? I have solved
Okay.
it, but using if-else
Okay.
condition.
Okay. That's fine.
Question number
Function I'll explain now. So when I explain function, you can do this thing as well.
Sir, also explain question number 8.
Question number 8, okay.
Sir, I too have a doubt in question number 8. I got the solution, but one solution didn't work for me. I have doubt in that.
Okay. Okay, 8 and 9 is something that we will discuss. Okay, 9 as of now we have not covered up the function. So function, obviously when we will cover function, you can do it, right? Okay, so 8 is something you can do, right? So it is saying what? Write a Python program that takes a string, okay, and thereafter calculate the number of vowels. Okay, so suppose I will define a string over here. Text is equals to what I should do. Any string, let's see, hello. How are you? Okay. So now we have to identify the vowels, right? So to identify the vowels, what can we do? We can use a loop, right? So for word in text, okay, print word, right? So here we can have the word over here one by one, right? And thereafter we can do what? We can just identify over here if any word belongs to vowels or not. So it's like A, E, I, O, U. Right. So we get what? True, false. True represents what? That okay, that the like see over here, I also print word over here. Word, comma, this thing. Right. So true represent this is what? A vowel. Okay. Thereafter O is also a vowel. Right. But in case just suppose if there is a vowel which is in capital letter. Okay, let's see. You planning for movie, right? So in this case, what happened? A is what? A is in a capital letter, right? But according to this rule, if you see, A is what saying false. Okay, because we had passed over here A, E, I, O, U, right? So what can we do? We can just convert everything into lowercase before checking a vowel. So here it is like it is converted into lowercase, right? That means A is what? A capital letter, right? Over here where it is. A is a capital letter, but before checking for what is it? Vowel, it will be converted into a small letter. Okay, capital letter A will be converted into a small letter and then it will check the vowel. So we are using which operator? Membership operator, right? So we can do what? Whenever this thing is true, okay, we will increase the value of a count. Okay, so we'll see vowel underscore count, which is equals to 0, right? And then we can say what? If this is true, right? That means if any word in lowercase is true, right? Then do what? Then increase the vowel count plus equals to 1. Okay, print total vowel count, comma, okay, so it's saying out 18. So what it is exactly doing? It is summing up all the true values, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So whenever true condition happened, what it does? It increases the count value over here by 1. Isn't it? I'll comment it because that is just for the demonstration. So I have a total vowel count 18. Okay, so this is question number 8. Question number 9 we'll discuss. Okay, with the functions. Anything else? See, if you did, it's well and good. But if you had tried and something didn't work, then you will not ask. So that will not help you. Okay, so if something that you tried but you can't do it, you find some problem. Okay, please don't think that it is easy, it is tough. Okay, if you can't, then it's my responsibility to tell you. Please do ask.
Excuse me, sir. So can I share my screen
Yeah,
once?
please.
Sir, is it visible now?
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I got the results. I got the output, but initially I did like this only. Can you tell me what's wrong in this one? If char equal to A or E, I did like that.
Right, understood. Okay. So if you want to do that, like do it like this, then you have to write a program. Now, can you see my screen?
Sir, I'll stop my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine. So here, what are you doing over here? Okay. So now if you see, we will access each word. Sorry, I just got a call, right? Now we have over here word double equals to A. This is what you did, right? It will
Yes,
just
sir.
verify where is A, right? The other is AEIOU, so you have to use OR condition. So if you are using OR condition, then you can't use just E over. This is not the way you can do it, right? You have to again do the comparison. Okay,
Oh,
right? Like this.
okay, got it, sir. Yeah.
Thereafter, again, you have to do the comparison AEI. O U,
Okay, okay.
right?
Okay, it didn't give me any error. That's why
Right. No,
yeah.
it will, yeah. Now if you see over here, if I will increase vowel underscore count plus equals to 1, print vowel count. So we got 17. Why are we getting 70? Because we have compared a small a, right?
Okay,
So if
okay.
any capital letter will come, it will not compare. So we can do what? We can just convert all of them into lowercase, okay, before comparison. So that, you know, if you pass a capital or a small, that doesn't matter. It will consider as a lowercase word. Okay. Done.
Okay, got it, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir.
So whenever you're using OR condition, AND condition, so you have to do the multiple comparison.
Okay, sir.
Right. Anything else?
सर आई हैव वन डाउट
Mhm.
सर आप जो सॉल्व किए वो ये 8th क्वेश्चन तो
Mhm.
आपने जो कंडीशन मेंशन किए हैं ना कि इफ
Mhm.
वर्ड डॉट लोअर इन ए ई आई ओ यू तो
Mhm.
ये ऑटोमेटिकली मतलब ले लेगा क्या कि मतलब ये अगर ट्रू होगा
मैं बता एक्सप्लेन। इन क्या है? इन इज बेसिकली अ मेंबरशिप ऑपरेटर, ठीक है? ये मेंबरशिप चेक करता है, ठीक है?
हम्म
सो इट्स लाइक दिस। सो सपोज आई विल राइट ओवर हियर, सपोज नेम is equals to, suppose any name, let's say Bipul. Okay. Now if I have to check over here that whether B is present in this name or not, so print B in name. So it will do what? It will give you true, right? Why? Because it is existing in this particular name, right? Same if you will see, suppose if I'll compare something else like A. So A is not there in the name, right? So A अभी नेम में नहीं है तो E के लिए क्या आएगा? False आएगा, ठीक है? So basically, और एक और एग्जांपल, लेट्स से आई विल हैव अ numbers is equals to 5 8 9 3 2, ठीक है? नाउ इफ आई वांट टू चेक अ नंबर, प्रिंट 9 in numbers, okay? So what you will get? True, because 9 यहाँ पे exist करा, because 9 is existing here, right? Same way if I will have some other number, let's see 19 or 29 or anything, the number which is not existing, so I'll get what? False, right? 19 is
नहीं
not.
सर मतलब मैं क्या बोल रही थी कि अगर वो प्रेजेंट है तो ट्रू देगा और नहीं
Correct,
प्रेजेंट है तो
correct,
फॉल्स देगा
correct,
तो
correct,
वो
correct.
तो ठीक है पर मतलब इफ के साथ मतलब इनका मतलब इसका तो आउटपुट है ना मतलब अगर ए ई आई ओ यू नहीं हुआ तो फॉल्स देगा है ना तो मतलब पर हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं इफ वर्ड लोअर इन ए ई आई ओ यू करके मतलब इस इक्वल टू ट्रू या फिर ऐसा कुछ नहीं दे रहे हैं ना मतलब इसका
नहीं,
जो
हाँ हाँ,
आउटपुट है वो
समझ गया, हाँ, राइट राइट राइट। हाँ, वहाँ पे आप उसको बेसिकली यहाँ पे आप ये कह रहे हो कि यहाँ पे आप डबल इक्वल्स टू आप ट्रू ऐसा नहीं कर रहे हो, राइट?
हाँ हाँ
हाँ, तो आप ऐसा
मतलब
भी कर
इसका
सकते हो।
आउटपुट तो फॉल्स भी हो सकता है ना इसलिए मैं बोल
हाँ
रही
हाँ
हूँ
हाँ हाँ, राइट। सो यहाँ पे आप इफ इक्वल्स टू ट्रू आप क्यों नहीं कर रहे यहाँ पे, राइट? बिकॉज ये ऑटोमेटिकली दिस इज गेटिंग यू, गिविंग यू द ट्रू, राइट? So this thing is automatically giving you what? True. So that's why you don't have to do this thing, right? False होगा तो फिर it will not execute. If it is false, obviously this thing will give you what? True or false, दो ही चीज दे सकता है ना,
हाँ
right? यहाँ पे basically when we are picking each word from here, इस particular text में से जब हमने इस loop, एक मिनट, when we trigger this loop, right? So what are we doing? We are picking up each text one by one, ठीक है? यहाँ पे एक एक वर्ड हम एक एक करके पिक कर रहे हैं और फिर एक एक वर्ड को कंपेयर कर रहे हैं, राइट? So when you are comparing each word one by one, so you will get true or false. So when true will happen, then what will happen? The next activity will happen according to if condition. And when else happen, then sorry, when false happen, then what happen? Because of false, else will execute, right?
हाँ
Okay. So else के लिए आप यहाँ पे लिख सकते हो non vowel count double equals to 0, right? So else we can see what non vowel count plus
ऊपर
equals to 1.
एरर आएगी, डबल इक्वल लगाए हुए हैं ऊपर नॉन
Right. Sorry. Non-vowel count we are increasing to 1. So if this condition is true, this will happen, right? And if this condition is false, then this will happen, right? So you can print it over here. Total non-vowel count, comma. Initially this was 0, but now it will turn out to like this 31. All right.
हाँ सर अंडरस्टूड
That is how if works, right? When if triggers activity, if it is true, ये तो आपको पता ही है, right? Print hello, right? अगर यहाँ पे अगर सपोज कंडीशन फॉल्स होता है, right? Print A B C D E, right? अगर कंडीशन फॉल्स होता है, so you'll not get anything, right? If condition is false, then what will happen? Else part will execute, right? Okay. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. If condition is false, then this will execute. Understood?
हाँ सर.
Okay. Now, this is very important thing to understand the next concept, which is called while, right? If and while are see, why for loop is little, people find easier. Okay, and while loop people find confusing. But while loop is more easier than for loop. Okay. Wow, let's see. Let's just try to understand while loop. Okay, it's just a kind of a way you are getting it. So this is again a looping. Okay, like you can create a loop through two ways. Okay, you can use for loop and you can use while loop. Right. Now see what happened when you are writing this thing. If true, print hello. Okay, so it will print hello for how many times? Just one time, right? Now we do what? We will replace. What we will replace? We will replace this thing if with while. This is a small change we do, right? So when we replace if with while and we execute this thing, it will start executing it for infinite number of times. This is the small difference between if and while. In both the case, you have to give condition over here. In if, what you give? Condition. In while also, you have to give condition. Okay. That condition will give you true or false, right? In case of if, the condition true triggers the activity for just one time. Okay, and while will keep triggering the activity for infinite number of times, okay, till the time this condition is true. Okay, till the time this condition is true. If this is true for 5,000 times, it will execute for 5,000 times. If this condition is true for 5 million times, it will execute for 5 million times. It is still executing, you can see. It will never stop, right? So I have to make a logic that after some time, this condition becomes false. Again, I'm repeating. I have to make a logic that after some time, this condition becomes false. How? Let's see. Suppose I write over here, I is equals to 0, right? And thereafter I put a condition, I is smaller than 10. Okay, let me stop it. Okay. So now I is what? Smaller than 10. So it is what? True. If it is true, it will give you the output as hello. Isn't it? Now you can do what? You can increase the value of I. I plus equals to 1. So what are you doing? You are increasing the value of I over here, okay, by 1. So first time it will be 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, then 9. And when the value of I becomes 10, the condition will be false. When the value of I becomes 10, condition will be false and loop will what? Loop will stop. Isn't it? So let's see. All right. So now it is stopped. When the value of I was 0, it was true. And this is how it is going on. Okay. Let's take one more example. Okay. Suppose I'll write over here. What should I do? Let's say while write a program to generate. Okay, same thing. Let's see, this is what we did over here in the for loop. Okay, we'll try to do some for loop program over here. This one. Okay, let's say this is what I have to do. Okay, write a program to generate multiplication table of 5, right? Same thing, right? Okay. This is what we already did in for loop, right? How we did in for loop? This is how we did in for loop. Let me just write the program in for loop once again. I'll not copy and paste. I'll again write it so that you can understand the difference, right? Same thing I'll write using for loop. Okay, and here what I do? Using while loop. Okay. Okay. So for loop, let's try to write the for loop, right? You already did. Okay. So for I in range 1 to 11, print I. So a value of I over here like this, I have to multiply it to 5. Okay, multiply it to 5. Okay. Right. Now I'll do what? I'll put it like this. It will do what? I multiplied by 5. But I want to use the value of I as variable. I want to use the value of I as variable so I can put into curly braces. Will it work? No, it will not work. I have to add F, that is formatted text. Right. Now I can do what? I multiplied by 5 is equals to. Okay. Then I can use the value of I over here. All right. Fine. Now let's try to do on the for loop. Sorry, while loop. For loop you had seen. So for while loop, what I do? For I is smaller than 11. Right. Initial value of I is equals to what? 1. Okay. Print I. Right. I execute it. So the value of I is smaller than 11. So it is always smaller than 11. So it will keep printing 1 for infinite number of times. Okay. So to handle it, we have to make sure that after some time this guy should become false. So when it will become false? If I write I plus equals to 1. Okay. So after some time, when the value of I touches 10, next time it will go for 11. As it go for 11, it will be false. Now I can do what? Multiplied by what? 5. Okay. You want to use other information over here, so you can do what? You can put it into curly braces and then within S colon. So now value of I should be what? Variable. So I can use F. And thereafter I can do what? I multiplied by 5 is equals to. Again, the value of I want to use as a variable, so I can put into curly braces, and F is already there. Okay. The same thing we did through while loop. All right. Okay. Next program, let's say I have a okay, break statement is also there. Okay, this is what we did with the for loop, right? Now, can you just try to convert this thing into while loop? What logic we can write? Just try what we are doing. Here we are giving a 3 attempts for the user. Okay, we are giving how many attempts? 3 attempts to enter the correct user ID and password. And if in 3 attempts user can't enter the correct user ID and password, we say we are not giving any further attempt. Like suppose I execute for the first time. So we have a ID over here. If we enter ID, let's say I enter ID, add me. Okay. So wrong user ID, obviously it will not work. Even the password is correct, but it will give me one more attempt. So let's say I'll enter correct ID and incorrect password. So again, it will give me one more attempt. This time I enter something, both are incorrect. So it will not give me any further attempt. Right? So this thing I have to convert to while loop. How can I do it? Can you just try and share the code with me? Hmm? Okay. See, let me give you the hint. We can do what? While I is smaller than 3. Okay. I is equals to what? 0. Right. And after sometimes the condition should be false. So I plus equals to 3, right? Now everything we have to put over here. Okay. So what I have to put? The whole thing that you did over here, right? Pick the user ID, put it over here, compare it. Okay. Put it over here. Okay. So break, a statement will also work in while loop. Okay. Now if I execute it, I enter incorrect user ID, incorrect password. Right. Now I enter what? So, okay, fine. So now it is not giving me any other opportunity. Why? Because I did a mistake over it should be plus equals to 1, right? Directly I added 3. So incorrect user ID, incorrect password. Okay. Now correct user ID and correct password. That's it. Right? Everything is same. Only what you did, only you have added this much. Right? You just made a condition. Okay. Because of that condition, after sometimes this thing will become false. And when this thing will become false, loop will automatically terminate. Okay. So when this will become false, if continuously you enter wrong user ID and password, if you continuously enter wrong user ID and password for 3 times, okay, then it will be like that. Now you do what? In case if you enter correct user ID, then also you want to break. So you break it over here. When you enter correct user ID password, then also you want to break. So you break it over here, right? Am I clear?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Now suppose if you have to modify this program, okay, where you have to give infinite number of trial. That means infinite number of chances to enter correct credentials. Okay. Give infinite number of chances to enter correct credential. Right. If okay, when okay, it's like you can understand like you have to give the correct infinite number of chances. That means you don't have to limit for 3 times. Okay, it will keep asking the user again, again, and again. Okay, till the time user enter the correct value. Okay, suppose user can take 50 chance or 500 chance, but it will keep asking you that enter the correct value. So what should we do for that? How can we modify a logic so that here limit should not be 3? Let me share this file with you. Alright, I had shared the file with you. You can access it and can give me the modified program. Yeah, someone did it. Who did it? Esa, okay. Yeah, right. Okay. So this is a way you can do it, right? Okay. So what actually done? Okay, here to trigger an infinite loop, it should be true condition. As you know, this is what I want to show you, right? So for infinite number of times, you have to pick the user ID and password, right? And then you have to compare it like this. So if user ID is admin and user pass is password, then only break the loop, else print this thing and again start the loop, right? So this loop will continue operating. Like I enter admin, I enter incorrect password, so it will again ask me. This is what giving me something like this is not required. Login failed, try again.
सर आई को अगर इंक्रीमेंट ना किया जाए तो भी तो होगा ना?
आई को इंक्रीमेंट, हाँ
जब
यहाँ पे आई को इंक्रीमेंट नहीं कर रहे ना.
हाँ
If you have to go for the infinite times, then you don't need to increment the I, right? So it's like, try again, I enter again, okay, I enter again, right? So you can say it will keep asking you, there is no limit over here, right? Here, now admin, and then password. So when you enter the correct value, okay, then only it will do what? It will say login successful. Right. So if you are when you are incrementing the I, that means you are trying to limit the number of occurrence. Okay, you are trying to limit the number of occurrence. That okay, I have to execute it for 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, as many times. Isn't it? Then, all right. Now, let's take one more example over here. Suppose I have to do what? Write a program to take a number from user repeatedly and print a square of the number. Okay. So what can we do? While true. Okay. User input is equals to input, enter a number. Okay. Now I want this number to be of numerical type. So what we can do? We can take the float of it. Okay. And then print the square of user input is user underscore input raised to the power square, right? So user input I want to use as a variable, right? Okay. So if I enter any number, it will do what? It will give me the square, but it will ask me again one more number. It will ask me again one more number, right? Right? But what I want that if there is a way that user can exit this process. Okay, so I want user can decide when to exit this process. Okay, so what can I do? I can ask the user to enter a number or exit. So take a number from the user repeatedly to print the square of the number. Okay, extend it to give an option to exit the loop whenever user wants by entering exit. Okay, so what can we do here? Enter a number or enter exit to take an exit. Okay, all right, so let's stop this thing, interrupt the execution. Okay, now let's say enter a number to calculate a square or enter exit to take an exit. So enter a number, I just enter a number, it is giving me a square. Okay, whatever number I enter, it will give me a square of it. Right, obviously this is a logic. Then it is saying that if I enter exit, then I have to take an exit. So I just enter exit, but it is saying what? Could not convert a string to float. Okay, that means this is a input function which can only expect a, that can only pick what? A numerical value. This input function can't pick a non-numerical value. Right, so now if I have to exit only with this word, see, with a numerical value, if I have to exit, I can do that, but only with the exit I have to exit, then what can I do? Isn't it? So I have to remove the limitations from here. What limitations? Float limitation. Okay, I'll say no. But if I remove the float limitation, then will it work? Let's see, 54. Then obviously it will not work because user entered value is what?
String.
String. That means I have to use over here, the typecasting will be used right here. Okay, here we can use typecasting. Okay, float. Instead of using typecasting at the input, I can use typecasting right here. Right. So now let's see. I entered a value 65. 65 is a string for the Python, but when it comes to this line, okay, 65 will be considered as a float because of typecasting, and then the square value will be calculated. 1, 2. Now if I type exit over here, what will happen? For the exit, it is not working. So how can we complete this code? Can you just try to complete it?
We have
Sir,
the
if user
statements.
input equal to
Correct.
exit.
Correct. Here we can do what? If user underscore input, that's what I want to hear from you. Exit. Okay, we'll see what? Break. Else we can see what? This thing. Isn't it? Here also we can give a message, print exiting.
Value.
सर हम लोग टाइपकास्ट ना करके और एक यूजर इनपुट लेके भी तो कर सकते थे ना, वो एग्जिट का जो काम है.
कैसे आप एक मिनट डिस्कस करता हूँ, पहले इसको कंप्लीट कर लूँ. Okay, so now let's see, I enter something like, so it will do the things, and if I want to take a exit, it will take the exit. Okay, now you're saying we can take another input, right? So another input like how? Like
सर एक यूजर इनपुट वो नंबर लेने के लिए और एक यूजर इनपुट 2 फॉर एग्जिट को मतलब लेने के लिए, तो अगर यूजर इनपुट 2 इक्वल टू एग्जिट हो जाए तो ब्रेक लगा देंगे हम लोग, वैसे
Yeah,
भी तो
right,
कर
you
सकते
can do that, right? But if you can do it just one input, then why to go for two input, right? That is the point. Okay, always your number of lines of code should be as less as possible, right? So in that case, if you try for that way, okay, you have to take two inputs, and every time you have to compare both the inputs, or it will be like this. Say you are saying user input one. Let's try user input two. This is what you are saying, right? Now, let's say here I am taking the input as a float. Input, enter a number. Okay. Here I'll say input. Okay. Enter. Okay. To exit, we'll say what? Enter yes. Okay. And then to continue, we'll say what? Enter no. All right. Okay. So this is what you're saying. So we can put this thing into while true. That means infinite loop. Okay. Now we have to do what? We have to compare our if ey2, okay, double equals to what? No. Then we can do what? Print this thing. Now this is not required. Right? And thereafter, sorry, ey1, right? Else break. Right. So here when we enter, suppose, okay. It is asking to enter a number. Suppose I enter number 6. Okay, it is asking exit yes or no. Suppose I said yes. So it will not give me anything. Okay. But if I'll say what? Enter numbers 5. Okay, exit no. So it will give me this thing. And again it will asking me. Right? So I enter over here. Basically this exit should be given first. Okay. Okay, exit yes. Yes, I want to exit. Then it is again asking me for the number. Okay, this should not be done. If I exit, then it should not ask me any number, right? It should break, isn't it? So this thing will go over here, right? Now let's see. Exit yes, so it will take a break. It will not do anything. But when I say exit no, it will ask me for a number. It will give me the square and then again yes or no. I want to exit yes, so this is all. Okay, so I guess this kind of logic you are asking for, right? So before taking any number, it will every time ask you that whether you want to exit or you don't want to exit. Please have a look on all the things that we had gone through till now. Okay. And if you have any doubts to us, please they give just ask. I'll wait for just 1 minute or 2 minutes. Then we'll go ahead. Okay, done. All right, so now let's say, okay, so explain this. Okay, the square of a number. Okay, print the square of number. This one is okay. So what it is? Niti, see, if you just print over, let me just remove it. Okay, so now we have to print the square of a number, right? So how can I print the square of a number? It's like we have a variable over here, right? And this variable I can do what? Square like this, isn't it? Right? I have to take the, so this is what user input is by default is string. I want it to be numeric. Okay, so if I want it to be numeric, then I want over here float. Okay, so now let's see, I'll enter number 4. It is giving 16, 7, it is giving me 49. If I type exit, it will take an exit because I enter exit, right? Now we are getting the square of a number like this. I hope this thing you understood, right?
Sure.
Clear? Okay. Now, if you want to put some message along with it, okay, so that message will be in what? In quotes. Message, if you have to put like the square of this number is what? That should be in the quotes. But if I put a quotes over here, what will happen? I enter a number like 5. You can see what happened. As I put a quotes, it will be printed as a string. Right? But I want a number, I want a value. So if I want a value, then this should be considered as what? A variable. A variable whose value is defined here. Right? So to consider this thing as a variable, what I have to put this thing in the curly braces. Fair enough? Okay. And then formatted text F. Right?
सर ये तो समझ में आ रहा है बट वो यूजर इनपुट को ये फ्लोट क्यों किए उससे पहले वाला ईज से पहले वाला
This one, okay. हाँ, because यहाँ पे आपने उसे convert नहीं किया ना. यहाँ पे आपने as it is pick किया, as a text pick किया. Like user input basically Python में क्या होता है? It's a string type. Correct? User input in Python is what? Like, see, if I will just see over here, let's say UI is equals to input, enter a number. Okay. Now I print over here UI multiplied by 2, right? And now I enter number, suppose 3. You can see what happened. 3 multiplied by 2 can't be 3. It should be 6, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what exactly happened? Python considers the user input as a non-numerical entity. Okay, for as of now, when you enter anything, it will be a non-numerical entity. So that's why you have to typecast it in a numerical type, which can be a float or an integer. So when you typecast it, right, then it will be a numerical entity for Python. That's why we are typecasting this particular variable. Same thing we did over here. We take user input and then we typecasted it as a numerical entity. Understood?
यस सर, बट सर इसके पहले वाला जो लाइन है फ्लोट यूजर इनपुट, मतलब एक बार उसको कन्वर्ट करने से तो हो जाएगा?
नहीं होगा ना। हाँ, यहाँ पे आप कर सकते, यहाँ पे आप कह रहे हो, राइट?
नहीं सर, ये आपने पूरा लाइन नहीं लिखा ना, मैंने जो लिखा है वो।
अच्छा, नहीं, एक बार करने से नहीं होगा ना। यहाँ पे तो सिर्फ आप एक बार, यहाँ पे आप न्यूमेरिकल कन्वर्जन ऑपरेशंस के लिए कर रहे हो, बट यहाँ पे इट्स लाइक या द स्क्वायर ऑफ क्या है, यूजर इनपुट इज, ठीक है। So if you type over here 4, right, it will do what? The square of user input it is showing, right? So I want the value to be printed over here. So if I want the value to be printed over here, I have to use what? Curly braces over here, right? Now, say I take the exit. If I execute it, right? So let's say it will show you what? The square of it is, sorry, it's just square, right? The square of this thing 5 is 25. So here, it is looking like a number, right? But you know, in the backend of the program is considering it as a string, right? Because you have not converted it. So as you are not doing any operation here, so you are not required to do the conversion like typecasting. This is what you are asking, like we had used typecasting here as well, isn't it? So here typecasting is not required if you are not doing any operation. Here typecasting we are doing because here we are doing an operation. So when we are doing operation, then only typecasting required. If you are not doing operation, then you can avoid it. आपको यहाँ पे कोई करने की जरूरत नहीं है. All right?
हाँ सर, समझ में आ गया।
Just to show the message that okay, we are taking the exit. If you don't use it, right? Suppose you moved it, right? Then what happened? It will directly break the loop. Okay. It will do what? Whenever you type exit, it will break the loop without showing any message. So loop is break, okay, process is over, but it is not showing you any message, right? Just to show a message that okay, we are breaking the loop, we are taking the exit. That's why I had given this thing, right, Soumya?
Okay, sir.
Because if you don't type, you can see it is showing nothing. Okay, here you type the exit, process is over. But when you give it, what will happen? It will show you taking exit. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. So let's go ahead. Done this one done. Okay, now, okay, one more thing, one more logic that I'll expect you to do or create. Mm, Okay, fine. So this is what a random number generator we had created using for loop. Okay, and thereafter we were doing what? We were running a loop, right? Through which this game was basically giving us. Okay, so see what happened. First of all, there'll be random number generated. We don't know what is random number. It is asking me to guess a number, right? So I will guess a number over here. Suppose I guess a number 50. Okay. So it guess number is what? If guess number is actually equals to random number, it will break the loop, right? It will break the loop over here, right? Otherwise, it will do what? It will go for this condition, too less or too large, right? So too large means what? My random number must be between 0 and 50. So I'll use what? 25 over here. So it must be between 0 and 25. I'll use 12 over here. So it must be between 12 and 25. Let's use 20. So 20 and 25, right? That means 23. So I own in 5 attempts. Okay, so 23 is a random number that I guessed in 5 attempts. All right. So this particular program you have to rewrite using the for loop. Please everyone try to rewrite this particular program using for loop. Done. So Abhishek, can you share the code? All right. Niti also did it. Okay, so it means now if you can do this thing in the while loop, that means you are getting the concept of while loop. Okay, so you'll not have a confusion. Okay, so it's like what we have to do, what we have to generate a random number. So random number we can generate using the random, using the random module. Okay, those you are doing. Okay, let's just see over here. And using this thing, I can generate a random number between 1 to 100. Okay, print random underscore number. Okay, so this is my random number, but a random number I don't have to show. I want a user should guess this number. If I want user to guess this number, what I'll do, I'll remove it. Okay, and then I'll write over here guess underscore number is equals to integer value should be there, input, you can say guess a number. Okay, now I want user to guess this number repeatedly again and again, so I have to use what? While true. Okay, so while true will do what? Will let the user guess this number again and again, right? At the same time, we also have to count how many times user actually guess the number, right? So that means if user guess the number for the first time, okay, we can increase the count value over here 1. As I enter the loop, the count value will be 1, and then it will allow the user to guess the number. All right. Now we can write the condition over here. If guess number is same as random number. Okay, so print congratulations, you won in how many attempts? In count attempts, right? Else if guess number is lesser than random number, okay, what you can say? Print, sorry. Else if guess number is lesser than random number, print you guessed a lesser value. Okay. Else print you guessed a larger value. Done. Right, sorry guys, just got a call. Okay, fine. So here you have to also break it. Okay, when the condition match, you have to also stop the process. Right? So guess a number. Let's say I guess a number over 50. Lesser value, right? That means it must be between 50 to 100. Let's say I guess 75. Larger way 50 to 75. Let's say I guess over 60. Suggest one in 3 attempts. Right? Yeah, this is a number automatically generated, okay, randomly. Like it will just pick any random number, like like you are having a huge amount of object or toys in a box. You just put your hand and just take out any random toy. Okay, it works like that. So it just pick any random number from 1 to 100. And every time you execute, it will be different. The output will be different.
Sir, why count equal to 0?
While what happened?
Count equal to 0, sir.
Count is equals to 0. This is what you are asking. Why is it so?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see what happened. We have to count how many, attempt user is making. So suppose user is making 2 attempt, 3 attempt, 4 attempt, how can we count it? So that's why we initialize this value from 0, because counting will start from what? 1. So when loop will start first, the value of count will becomes 1. Okay, and then it will allow the user to enter a number. Right. So if user entered the incorrect number, right? User entered the incorrect number, then what happened? Loop will not break. Okay, loop will not break because user entered the incorrect number. So these things will happen. So because of this thing, again loop will run. Right? And when loop will run again, what happened? The value of count which was 1, it will becomes 2. It was 1 now, so it will becomes 2. Then it will becomes 3. That's why here user entered 3 values. Okay, so it is counting that the count value at then it was 3, because in 3 attempts guess number becomes equals to what? Random number. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, kindly go to the things. Let me know if anything to be asked from here. How can we use else statement after for loop in previous program? All right. This is what you are saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. So if when after some time, this is a loop which will bounded to execute for 10 times, right?
Right.
Okay. So when 10 times is done, then what will happen? So that is basically control. So else, else can also be used with the for loop or with the while loop.
So sir, if statement is not necessary, right?
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
So here, like after this thing, whatever happens, so that is done through this else condition. So else can be used with if, else can also be used with while loop. I'll show you with while loop. If you want to use else, you can do it. Like for example, let's say Like example, I want to take. Okay, let's say this example, right? So suppose this is something, right, which this is a random number generation, right? Now I want to use this game. Okay, let's say write a program to make this game available only if user age is more than 12. Okay, I don't want that. Okay, if user age is less than 12, I don't want the user can play this game. Okay, so what I can do, I can access over here first age, or you can say user age is equals to integer input, enter your age. Okay, now here I can compare age value while age is smaller than what user age. Sorry, user age is greater than 12. Okay, so here you compare that while user age is greater than 12, then only this will execute. Okay, so let's say I'll execute this thing. It is asking for the age. Suppose I age entered 6. So nothing happened, right? Nothing happened. This loop is not started. Why not started? Because age is what? Lesser than 12. So
Right.
when nothing happened at that point of time, if you want to show something, that you can put in else. Okay, here you can put this thing in. See, since it is not showing you any message, if you want to show the message, you can write in the else condition. This else condition is for what? For the while loop. Okay, these are the else if else condition for if else. So here we can print your age is lesser than 12, so you can't play this game, right? Suppose I enter 5. All right, and
Right.
if suppose age is more than 12, like 15, then this game will start, right? Let's enter 40. $70, $60, $50. All right.
Yeah, sir. Got it.
Okay, count तो हम 11 के अंदर भी इंक्रीमेंट कर सकते हैं. Okay, so the question is, can we increment the count within the if else? Yeah, so that can also be a way. Okay, what can you do? But you can do that in if else, right? You can just but where do you increase the count, here or here or here? Okay, like you have to increase the count for all 3 times, right? Like if the guess number is same as the random number, then also count should be increased. If it is lesser than, then also count should be increased. If it is not lesser than, then also it should be increased. You said it right, you can increase in the if else, but you have to increase it for all these 3. That means you have to write this thing for 3 times. है ना? क्योंकि attempt तो count होगा ना, like attempt will be counted every time, like you guess the correct number or you guess the incorrect number. Okay, attempt will be counted, right? So you have to put the attempt count in all of these 3. Clear? Okay, next we have to discuss, okay, थोड़ा कम थोड़ा ज़्यादा, okay, Mohammed Wasi, it's count, okay, right, thank you, okay, so yeah, everyone just go through everything that we did till now, okay, if you find anything doubtful, anything which is not clear, kindly let me know before I can go for the next topic. I'll wait for 2 minutes before I will start function in Python. What is the real time use of random number? Real time use क्या होगा? Like, you know, to create these kind of applications या फिर see ऐसा कुछ खास रियल टाइम के अंदर बहुत ज्यादा important यूज नहीं होता, but yeah, to test your program, okay, like suppose you are creating a program for some use data values or some kind of a data set which is not you don't aware with, okay, so you are just checking your algorithm, okay, you are intended to check your algorithm or you are intended to check your logic, okay, for a particular condition आपको सिर्फ logic check करना और you just to check your program, so through random you can generate some random number and check your logic or check your program, like how is your logic working, how is your program working, right? So it is mostly used for the testing purpose, okay, generate random values and then test your logic, so it will be mostly used in case of testing purpose kind of thing. While using all the 3 times exhausted. See, ATM pin is what? ATM pin is fixed, right? Your ATM pin is fixed, so when you enter the ATM pin, right, so that is compared with a fixed number, okay, like you set a ATM pin, that is a fixed number, right, like suppose your ATM pin is 1234, so when you enter any number, that will be compared with a fixed number, okay, that will not tell you that okay, you entered a lesser number or you enter a higher number, no, that don't work like that, right? But yeah, while testing your program, like you are creating an application and you have to just test your application, you have to just test your software, so in that case, by generating a random number, you can test your software, like how is it working. Mostly testing purpose में ही ज्यादा करके यूज करेंगे. Okay, this is a very good question actually, Lokesh. How to decide which type of loop will use? This question make question approach which is best. See, how do you decide which type of loop? That will depends on which loop you are comfortable, right? Using which loop you can write the code better, right? So in that case, kind of in such way you can decide the loop. Okay, suppose you are good in writing the for loop, you can use for loop. You can in some, like if you are good in writing the while loop, you can write while loop. That is one thing. Second thing, if there is a process, if there is a certain process, okay, in which you need an infinite loop, Okay, if there is a certain process in which you require an infinite loop, okay, like loop will keep running, keep running, keep running, okay, like this. Okay, you don't want to limit it until a certain condition match. All right. Sorry, I just got a call. Okay. So in case when you have to create a infinite loop like this, infinite loop means loop will keep running, keep running, keep running until a condition matches. Okay. So in such case, while loop will be more favorable. Okay. For an infinite loop, while loop will be more favorable. Okay. It will help you to create an infinite loop where you can do the kind of condition check, okay, and can run the loop for the infinite number of times, right? Because in for loop, what are you doing? You are basically limiting the number of times it can execute, like 10 times, 20 times, 50 times, like that, right? Here, if you're using for loop, then what you do? You just fix it like, okay, you have to run it for 10 times or 7 times or 20 times, like that, right? So that's why, infinite, to create an infinite loop for, sorry, while loop is more good, isn't it? Because directly you can't create infinite loop using for loop. Okay, there is a way of creating an infinite loop using for loop, but directly you can't create. To create an infinite loop, let me tell you, infinite loop using for loop. Okay, so by default there is nothing like that where you can use like for I in something. Always you have to put a range. Okay, for a particular finite range only infinite loop will run. Okay, you required a additional module or a library like from ITR tools import count. Okay, from ITR tools import count, right? Now for I in count, print I. So this ITR tools, okay, will keep increasing the count for infinite number of times. Okay, so now you can do what? You can use over here a condition. What condition? If I double equals to suppose 10, then break the loop. Okay, so this additional module you required to create an infinite loop using for loop, but in while loop you don't need like that. Okay, just by typing while true you can trigger an infinite loop. Okay, so if you read a statement, if you have to create something and you understand that here I need infinite loop, okay, and I have to stop a loop under certain condition match, you can use what? While loop. Otherwise you can go for loop. Anything else? Yeah, practice question I will give, right? Obviously, I'll give some practice questions to you. Like last time I had given the assignment, similar to that, I'll give some practice questions to you, right? No worry. First, we'll cover up certain topics and then I'll give you some practice questions, right? Anything else? All right. So next topic we have to discuss is like we have discussed loops and other things, right? Next we have to discuss what function. Okay. So how a function actually works. Okay. So you must have seen or uses mathematical functions, right? Guys, just give me a minute. Okay, so you must have used like functions in mathematical case, right? So how a function actually works, it's like this. See, functions. Okay, so if I talk about functions, okay, you can relate it with mathematical function. Okay, let me just explain this thing. Okay, like this. For example, if I write over here f of x, okay, is equals to what? X plus 4. Okay, in this case, right? If I give over here f of 2, okay, what will be my outcome? 2 plus 4, that would be 6, right? So basically a function is doing what? We have defined a set of rule, okay, we have defined a kind of a you can say equation, okay, and based upon that equation, whatever the value, whatever the argument you feed over here, okay, that will be operational, okay, that will be operated using the rule you have defined. Okay, that's what a function do. Okay, same thing a function do in Python programming, only the way of writing the function is different. Okay, but the purpose is same, right? Define a rule for one time and use it as many time you want to use. Okay, so basically it creates the reusability of a piece of code. What function do? You can write it like this. It creates a reusability for a piece of code. Okay, like you are having a code and you want to reuse it for multiple times, then you can do it with the help of functions, right? So that can be done like this: def. Okay, def means what? Define a function. Okay, or you can say consider it like defining a function in Python. Next, we have to write the name of function. It can be, let's say, df show name. Okay, just some random function name I had given, and then I have to write the thing over here like print right? Now if I trigger this function, right, as many time I trigger it, every time it will give me the same outcome. So what is it doing? It is basically creating a reusability, isn't it? So this is a function which is not picking up any argument over here. Argument means what? X kind of things. For X, the value 3 is what is the argument here, 2 is what is the argument, isn't it? So we have to define a function with a parameter so that it can fetch an argument, right? So let's define a function over here. The name of the function is do sum. Okay. Now I'll define x is equals to 3, y is equals to 7, okay, z is equals to x plus y, okay, print z. All right. Now let's see do sum. So here we have what? 10. Right. But when you trigger it for 2 times, 3 times, every time it will give you what? 10. Because the value of x and y is not changing. Every time it is 10. Right. So we can use what? We can use the x and y as a parameter over here and can remove it from here. Right? Okay. Now if I execute it, what will happen? Now x and y is a parameter. Now if you execute it, it is asking what? Do sum missing 2 required positional arguments. Okay. So what it means? You have to pass over here the argument value, like suppose 5 and 4 I am passing, it will give me what? 9. In other case, if I pass suppose 8 and 7, it will give me what? Whatever the sum of 8 and 7. Right. In third case, I can feed what? I can feed over 3 and 4. Right. So two kinds of function we have created. The first function where it is just doing the same job, just printing the same name as many times you triggered it. So what is the rule of function? You can create a function for one time and you can define a activity over here. Okay. That activity will not be executed, okay, unless you trigger the function. So in the function, there are two parts. One, creation of the function. Second, trigger the function. Okay. So when you trigger the function, right, then it will do the job. Here also we created the function and then we triggered it. All right. Now let's try to see the assignment question that I had given to you. What is the question? Define a function to calculate discount and takes original price of an item as an argument and returns the discounted price. If the discounted price, if the original price is greater than 100, apply 10% discount, otherwise apply 5% discount. Okay. So how can you do it? So let's take it. Okay. So see, here I'll do what? I'll create this thing without creating a function. Okay, and you will try to make a function for it, right? So define a function named calculate discount that takes the original price of an item. So let's say original underscore price is equals to, let's say, float input enter original price. Okay, nice. Next, if original price is greater than 100, then what to do, else, then what to do. Okay, so now you have to create a function that can do this job. This is a logic. I just wrote pass over here because that also you have to write. So just try to do this thing. Just see, just try, right or wrong, anything, just try. You may do it wrong, that is totally fine. Okay, because when you do it wrong, we'll find, okay, what are the errors are we doing, and then we correct it. Yeah, right. I guess Mohammed Wasi did this thing. Okay. Everyone just do it. Mm, mm, mm. See, here we have to do it using the function, right? So we can define what? We can define a function of def. Okay, calculate, what is it? Discount, right? Okay. For the discount, it requires what? Original price, right? So I can pick it, put it over here. All right. Now, here we have to do what? We have to check the original price is more than 100 or less than 100, right? So that's what are we doing? If original price is more than 100, right? So we take what? They apply a 10% discount. So 10% discount will be what? Original price multiplied by 0.1. It returns the discounted price. So discounted price will be what? Original price
Original price into 10, divided by multiply by 0.01.
right? So this will be what? My discounted price. Okay, so print discounted price, comma, discounted price, isn't it? else 0.05. Okay, now I can do what? This function is already created, right? So this is a reusability, right? So I can take the original price whenever I want, okay, and can trigger it, isn't it? Let's say enter the original price. I'm typing 105. Okay, let's say original price I'm giving over here 95. All right. Wait a minute, guys. All right. I'm giving you a few things to do. Just try that part, right? Okay, as a part of practice. Okay. Okay, so here I wrote this thing.
Sir, sum of the square means sir, sum लेना that then square. Sum of square.
Sum of squares of numbers. Sum of squares of numbers means what? You have to take the square and then sum. Okay, like 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square, like this. Okay, plus 9 square plus 10 square. All right.
Okay, sir.
So it is just 5 questions, right? So if you can give at least half an hour to it, okay, that is max. Okay, even you can do it in 15-20 minutes. But if you can give a max of half an hour to it, right, you can easily do it. So just try these things. Tomorrow we can discuss it. Okay. For today, this is the thing. Like tomorrow, I'll go more. I'll give more detailing about the functions. There are so many things that are there in functions. Okay, like default argument. Okay, keyword arguments. Right. Or there are like when we don't know how many arguments can be there. Like here, you can do what? Here you can pass only one argument. If you want to pass 2 arguments, it will not accept. Okay, so how to make sure that you can accept multiple arguments? Okay, There are so many things are there in function that we discuss in the next class. Okay. Meanwhile, please go through the things and try to do this program. Okay. And if you find any doubts, let me know. Shall we close it for today?
Okay, sir.
Okay, guys, we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.